Okay, you ready? So basically, on page 23, we're going to find the value required to get a certain average. So some of you are going to ask, like, hey, what do I need on the exam to get this? Right? You might ask me that later. This is not quite what we're going to use. We're going to use a different method later on, but this is getting us there. So let's read. In one game, a football team has offensive drives of 45, 43, and so forth. Okay, so how many drives? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 we've collected. So here's the kicker. The coach wants the team to achieve a mean of 35. We want to achieve a mean of 35 yards per drive. Okay. What must the length of the next offensive drive be if the team wants to meet this goal? It's on page 23. Okay. So here it is. So first of all, mean is given, so you're not calculating it. So the mean is what? Our goal, we want a 35-yard average. Okay? It's right here, and I'm just going to go arrow and point to it. Okay? So that's our goal. This is the goal that we want to achieve. So you can fill in the blank, like I want an average of 90 at the end, right? That's what you want to achieve. How do I get there? So we start with this formula. Mean is sum of all values divided by the number of values. That's in a nutshell what mean is how it's calculated. So I'm going to use a red pen for the knowns. So the 35, this number here we know, right? So we're going to plug this in. We're going to substitute that in. So 35 goes there. The sum of all the values, we're just going to add that. I'm actually going to show you how to do that. 45, 43, 24, 21, 44. This is how many drives? 5 drives. We want to know, you ready for this one? I'm sure this is going to give you flashbacks. We want to know what we must score on that next drive. Okay? Next drive. Okay? Divided by, what are we going to divide this by? 5 or 6? How many values are we adding? With this is 6. Okay, so we had 5 drives. Now you're asking, hey, if I do another drive, right? What must that be to get this average? So we have 6 here. So clean it up. 35 is equal to, let's add this up. I'm pretending to add it up in my head, right? 177. He's so good, right? How did he do it? I have my answer right in front of me here. Divided by 6. So that's kind of where you want to get to. Like pretty soon you're going to go straight to here anyways. So ready for this part? So this is where algebra comes in. You want, listen carefully, the goal of algebra is always to have your variable isolated, x by itself. That's your ultimate goal. So you start undoing what's happening around it. I always suggest get rid of what's dividing first, not what's adding, okay? So the first step is going to be multiply this by 6 and multiply this by 6. You got to do the same thing to both sides. I don't know if you remember that from in grade 9. I'm sure you've heard that. So why are we doing that? It allows us to cancel out the 6 because it's like, why would you even bother multiplying by 6 if you're dividing by 6? That's exactly what we want. On the other side, it's 6 times 35. That ends up being 210. And on this side, this whole mess just cleans up to that. Okay? And now, 177 is adding to x, so we're going to subtract 177 on this side and do the same thing to this side. It allows us to do this, cancel out. And so x is equal to 210 minus 177. That's 33 yards. The next drive needs to be 33 yards, okay, for you to get that 35-yard average. Question. Copy it first. This is foreshadowing what's going to happen. What if I got a negative value here? That means that it's not achievable. Okay. If you get a negative as your answer, well, A, you might have made a mistake, so go check and make sure you didn't make a mistake, right? But if you ever get a negative, it means it's not achievable. Okay, you can't do it. Does the number seem logical? What might this be an explanation for this number? Okay. So logical, we could say the drive required is less than the mean. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Right? You want a mean of 35, but your next drive only needs to be 33. It's because you did pretty good, right? This is because there were drives of 44, 43, and 45 yards in the past, okay? So there were drives before that were significantly higher than your average. And this is the equivalent of saying, hey, Mr. Erickson, I want an 80 on the exam, but let's say you all along have been doing 90s. You might actually only need a 70, right? And still achieve your goal because you've been doing so well. Same thing here. This team has been doing pretty good, they've had some pretty good drives. So in order to achieve your goal of 35 average, you actually just need a 33-yard drive on your 6th run, and then you're there, okay? Is it achievable, 33 yards? Is it too much to ask of your team based on historic data? No, it's actually very doable. So I'm just going to ask you that down the road, so I'm just kind of trying to poke you a little bit on that front. Let's try one more here, and then I'll see how you do. Let's try 24. This is another backwards example. Let me just go over. You're good, Majestic? I can come back to it gladly. Here you go. In 1 week, the mean number of passengers through a transit turnstile per day is 1290. You know what this is? Canadian Tire, Garden City, you know the bar that you move when it counts the people? That's what it is. So it used to be, I don't know if still some transit systems it counts, like, anyways, that's what it is. So it's just a thing that counts how many people go through, okay? So on average, watch this, your mean is right there, okay? Your mean is given, you're not calculating it, okay? And then you've got the days, right? Monday all the way to Sunday, and the number of people on each given day. How many days are we talking about here? 7, right? So, how many pass by on a Sunday? So you go like this. My average is 1290. Oh, hold on. Let me move this a little bit. I want some space here. Okay, so I'm going to go 1290 is the average I need. I am considering 7 days. I know that already based on the table. So what we're going to do is we're going to add up the 6 days we have data for already. These are like, on the previous example, we had 5 drives. Now we have got 6 days worth of data already. So I'm going to go ahead and add this up. I'm doing this on my calculator, on my virtual imaginary calculator, and that's 8,102 people, okay? Passengers. Over how many days? 6 days, right? So this would be 8102, and you just slap on the X, like this is Sunday, that's considering Sunday. Okay. And then you just undo what's happening to X. So what's the first step? Multiply both sides by 7. Cancel, cancel. 7 times 1290, that's 9,030, is equal to, this whole mess cleans up to this. And your last step is to subtract 8102 from both sides. And then cancel this out. So no math really happens on the right side. All the math happens on the other side. Okay? So this is 928 passengers is what I would expect on a Sunday. And to check, if you have the time, you could add up all these 6 and this one and divide it by 7 and see if you get that average. Okay? I don't know why I gave you that much space.
I'm not on my AC. Can you please give me back AC?
Oh, I'll give it to you later. Does this number seem logical? What might be an explanation for this number? I got this from a textbook, so I'm just gonna, it's kind of saying 928, does that make sense? Because look, you've got, every single day you've got more than over 1,000, right? So what I want you to do when you have a question like this is go back and check. Everything is over 1,000, right? But all of a sudden you've got 928. Does it make sense to have a low number on a Sunday? Right? Most people don't work on a Sunday, so that's what we can say here. Yes, since most people do not work on a Sunday, or you can say fewer people work on Sunday, right? Like nowadays, actually, right? Nursing and restaurants, everything is open, so there is actually a significant amount, but I would say fewer people work on a Sunday, right? If you want to be even more specific, therefore, Sunday has fewer passengers. Right? Just to be very specific, actually answer the question, because like, does it make sense, right? Right now, always assume you've been having a conversation and somebody walked into the room halfway through. You know how annoying that is sometimes? Like you got to fill that person in, right? It's like no, but you got to be nice and just like, oh, we were talking about this. So when you answer a question like this, make sure you're not thinking, oh yeah, everybody knows what I'm talking about. Like make sure you come across with a clear point there. All right, I'm going to ask you to try this. Follow me here, page 25. And I'm going to skip a few because I want you to practice this exact same skill. So 25, page 25 for sure. And 27, can you go to 27, because I don't have a number. I want you to put a star or go backwards, right backwards on this question on page 27. On top of this question here with Yasir's, okay? That's a backwards question, so I want you to try that one. And I want you to try the one on page 25, okay? Page 25, and then go to page 27 and do the one I just indicated. I posted the answer keys to 26 all the way to 28. If you were having a hard time today with like mean, median, mode, I encourage you to try those questions that are just like mean, median, mode types. But there's the backwards ones that I really want you to try. There are 2 of them. And if you need to have that on your study sheet, do it. I will make a note here. I will tell you this, okay? For if I do have an AC, some of you like to just guess. So some of you are just gonna guess until it works out. So I don't know if you want to go to page 23, and I'm just gonna. I have to see the work that gets you there. Can you guess to like get you started? For sure, but you need to show me the steps here. At the bare minimum would be, 1, 2, 3 lines, okay, to get full marks on this one.